It was a cold Monday morning in the city. The sun had barely risen, and the tall glass building of Gray Enterprises stood like a giant mirror, silent and proud. Employees hurried through the main gate, holding their files tight, whispering to one another. They knew what time it was. Mr. Adrian Gray, the CEO, would arrive any minute. Everyone feared him. No one dared to laugh or talk when he was around. He was known as a man of rules, perfection, and silence. It had been 3 years since his wife's death, and since then, the smile on his face had vanished forever. A black car stopped in front of the building. The door opened, and Adrian Gray stepped out. He was tall, well-dressed, and looked as cold as the morning wind. His eyes were sharp, yet empty, like he was living but not alive. He walked through the lobby. The sound of his footsteps echoed in the hall. The guards stood straight, the receptionist bowed, and the employees avoided eye contact. For them, he was power and pain in one person. But that morning was not like every other. As he reached the elevator, a small, gentle voice came from behind. "Excuse me, sir. You dropped this." Adrian stopped. His hand froze near the elevator button. He turned slowly. A little girl stood there, maybe 8 years old, with big brown eyes and a shy smile. Her clothes were old but clean. In her tiny hand, she was holding something shiny, a silver locket. For a moment, time stopped. Adrian looked at the locket. His heart skipped a beat. It looked exactly like the one his late wife used to wear. He took a step forward, his voice trembling for the first time in years. Where did you find this?" The girl blinked, a little scared. "It was on the floor, near the car, sir. I think you dropped it." He took the locket carefully, like it was made of glass. His eyes filled with memories, his wife's laughter, her soft voice, her last day in the hospital. The same locket he had searched for everywhere after she passed away, but he never found it. He whispered under his breath, "This can't be." The janitor came running, out of breath. "I'm so sorry, sir. My daughter shouldn't be talking to you." "Come here, Lily." Adrian looked up. "Lily," he repeated quietly. "Is that your name?" The girl nodded. "Yes, sir." He knelt down, still holding the locket. "Do you know what this is?" Lily shook her head. "No, sir, but it's very pretty. My mommy used to have something like this too."
Adrian's eyes widened.
"Your mommy." The janitor quickly interrupted. "Sir, I'll take her now." "She didn't mean to bother you." Adrian didn't respond. He just stared at the girl. Something about her face, her innocent eyes, reminded him of someone. His wife, the same softness, the same calmness. The elevator door opened, but Adrian didn't step in. He looked down at the locket again. It was old, a little scratched, but inside, through the tiny glass, he could see a photo. His wife's photo. The janitor noticed his reaction and became pale. "Sir, is something wrong?" Adrian looked at him sharply. "Where exactly did she find this?" The janitor swallowed hard. "Behind the old elevator, sir? She was playing there while I cleaned." Adrian's voice turned low. "Behind the old elevator. That part hasn't been used in years." He closed the locket, his hands shaking. The building suddenly felt colder. He turned to Lily and whispered, almost to himself, "This locket was never supposed to be here." Lily tilted her head, confused. "Did it belong to someone special, sir?" He forced a weak smile, the first in a long time. "Yes, someone I loved more than anything." The elevator doors closed behind him as he stepped in slowly, still staring at the locket. His reflection in the mirror looked broken, a man haunted by a memory that refused to fade. Outside, Lily watched him go, not knowing that what she returned to him would change all their lives forever. That night, the city lights shone like distant stars. But inside Adrian Gray's mansion, everything was dark and silent. He sat alone in his study, the silver locket lying open on the table. The soft golden light from a lamp fell over it, revealing the photo of his late wife, smiling as if time never moved. For 3 years, Adrian had tried to forget that smile. But now, the same locket lost since her death had returned to him through the hands of a little girl he had never seen before. He leaned back in his chair, his heart heavy with questions. Behind the old elevator, the janitor had said, that part of the building hadn't been opened in years, not since his wife's accident. The thought made his chest tighten. He opened the locket again, gently touching the photo. His fingers brushed against something tiny inside, a folded piece of paper tucked behind the frame. Adrian frowned. He had never noticed it before. Slowly, he pulled it out. The paper was yellowed and delicate, like it had been hidden for years. He unfolded it carefully. The handwriting was familiar. His wife's. The note said, "If you ever find this again, follow your heart, not your pride." For a long moment, Adrian just stared at the words. His heart felt like it had stopped beating. His wife had written this, but when? And why hide it inside the locket? Memories came flooding back. He remembered the day they argued his pride, his work, his cold words. She had walked out of his office crying, wearing that same locket. That was the last time he saw her alive. He pressed the paper to his chest. "What are you trying to tell me, Claire?" He whispered softly. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. Rain started to fall, tapping gently against the windows. He picked up his phone and called his assistant. "I need access to the old elevator area tomorrow morning." No questions asked. "Yes, sir," the assistant replied quickly, though confused. Adrian hung up, staring at the rain. In his heart, something had shifted. A strange feeling he hadn't felt in years. Hope, the next morning. Adrian arrived at the office before anyone else. The building was quiet. The janitor, Mr. Harris, was already there, cleaning the floor. Adrian walked straight toward him. "Where's your daughter?" The janitor looked nervous. "She's waiting for me outside, sir." "Why?" Adrian said calmly. "Bring her inside. I want to thank her." Harris hesitated, then nodded and left. While waiting, Adrian stood near the old elevator, the one Lily mentioned. It was locked, dusty, and covered in a "Do Not Enter" sign. Something about it felt heavy, like it was guarding a secret. Soon, the janitor returned with Lily, holding her hand. She smiled shyly. "Good morning, sir." Adrian smiled faintly. "Good morning, Lily. Thank you again for finding this." He showed her the locket. Her eyes brightened. "It's so pretty. It looks like my mommy's old one." Adrian froze. "Your mother had one like this too?" Lily nodded. "Yes, but Daddy doesn't like to talk about her. He says she went to heaven when I was very small." Mr. Harris quickly interrupted Lily. "That's enough." But Adrian had already noticed Lily's eyes, her small gestures. There was something familiar. A shadow of someone he once knew. He turned to Harris. "Mr. Harris, I need to ask. Did your wife ever work here?" The janitor looked down. "Yes, sir. A long time ago. Before she got sick," Adrian's voice softened. "What was her name?" Harris hesitated. His lips trembled. "Her name was Anna Bennett." The name echoed in Adrian's mind like a forgotten song. Anna Bennett, his wife Claire's twin sister. He remembered hearing that she lived somewhere far away, but Claire never spoke much about her. His hand tightened around the locket. Could this little girl be? He didn't say another word. He simply turned and walked away, his mind spinning. Something deep inside told him this was not just coincidence. That night, as the rain returned, Adrian stood by the window again, looking at the locket's reflection. He whispered, "Claire, are you leading me somewhere?" The locket seemed to shimmer faintly under the light, as if answering him. And for the first time in years, the cold CEO felt that his past was not finished yet. The next few days passed slowly, but Adrian Gray's mind couldn't rest. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that little girl's face, Lily, with her soft brown eyes and calm smile. She reminded him too much of Claire, his late wife. The way she spoke, the way she smiled, it all felt familiar, painfully familiar. He sat in his office, staring at the silver locket again. It wasn't just an old memory anymore. It was a mystery, one that refused to leave him in peace. He had always believed in logic, in facts, in control. But this time, something was different. His heart told him that the truth behind this locket was much deeper than coincidence. Adrian pressed the intercom button. Riley, he said to his assistant, "Get me the file on a former employee, Anna Bennett. She worked here about 9 or 10 years ago." The assistant paused. "Anna Bennett, sir? I'll check the archives. It might take some time." "Do it," Adrian replied quietly. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. His mind wandered to that note again. Follow your heart, not your pride. Maybe, he thought, it was time he did. Later that evening, Adrian left the building early. He drove alone through the quiet streets until he reached a small neighborhood near the edge of town. It was an old place, narrow lanes, flickering lights, and worn-out houses. He parked his car and sat for a moment, watching the janitor's house from a distance. The small home had a broken fence and a tiny garden with a few dying flowers. Through the window, he saw Lily helping her father set the dinner table. They laughed softly together, their voices faint but warm. Adrian felt something twist inside him. Envy and guilt mixed together. He realized how long it had been since he had heard laughter in his own home. He stayed there for a while, then drove away quietly. He didn't want them to see him. Not yet. The next morning, Riley entered his office holding an old brown file. "Sir, I found the record. Anna Bennett worked here 12 years ago in the design department. She resigned suddenly after her sister, Claire Gray, passed away." "Was?" Adrian's eyes darkened. "So she was Claire's sister?" "Yes, sir. But that's not all." Riley looked nervous. "According to this record, she didn't resign directly. She just disappeared. The company never received her resignation letter. It's as if she vanished." Adrian took the file, flipping through the yellow pages. There was a small ID photo clipped to the corner, Anna Bennett. Her face was almost identical to Claire's. He closed the file slowly. His hands trembled. "Find out everything you can about where she lived, who she married, and when she died." "Yes, sir." When Riley left, Adrian stared out the window. The city looked the same, but his world had started to change. He had spent years hiding behind walls of work and success. Now a simple locket and a little girl had cracked those walls wide open that night he couldn't sleep. He sat by the fireplace, the locket in his hand, listening to the rain tapping against the glass again. Memories came and went, the first time he met Claire, their wedding day. Her laughter echoing in the halls. He whispered softly, "If Lily is Anna's daughter, that means she's your niece, Claire." The thought hit him like lightning suddenly. He remembered something else. The day of Claire's funeral, he'd seen a woman standing far away from the crowd, a woman who looked exactly like Claire. It disappeared before he could reach her. Could that have been Anna? He stood up, his heartbeat racing. "I need to know the truth," he said aloud. He picked up his phone and called a number he hadn't used in years. "Detective Maurice. It's Adrian Gray. I need your help." Quietly, the detective on the other side replied, "What's the case?" Adrian looked down at the locket. "It's not a case," he said softly. "It's something I lost a long time ago." The next morning, as the sun rose, Adrian watched his reflection in the elevator mirror. For the first time in years, he didn't see just a CEO. He saw a man searching for answers. He whispered to himself, "Claire, if this is your way of guiding me back, I'll follow." The elevator doors closed slowly, and with that, the investigation began. One that would uncover truths buried in silence, pain and love. The following week, Adrian Gray met with Detective Morris in a quiet cafe outside the city. It was early morning. The air smelled of coffee and rain. Adrian sat at a corner table, his expression calm, but his eyes restless. The detective, a man in his 50s with tired eyes, placed a thin file on the table. "You were right, Mr. Gray," Morris said softly. "There's more to this story than you thought." Adrian opened the file slowly. Inside were faded photos, hospital reports, and an old ID card, Anna Bennett, Claire's twin sister. "She worked here," Maurice continued, "then disappeared after her sister's death. I tracked down her hospital records. She died about 8 years ago. Lung infection, they said. Left behind one child, a daughter named Lily." Adrian's breath caught. He whispered, "So Lily is her daughter?" Morris nodded. "Yes, your niece." Adrian stared at the photo, Anna holding a baby. The resemblance to Claire was shocking. Their eyes, their smile, even the way they held the child. It was like looking into the past. He closed the file and looked out the window. Why didn't anyone tell me? Morris hesitated. Her husband, your janitor, Mr. Harris, kept it quiet. He didn't want charity. He didn't want trouble. Adrian clenched his jaw. He could have told me. I would have helped them, would you? Maurice asked gently. 3 years ago, you were a man no one dared talk to. Cold, closed off. Maybe he thought you wouldn't care. The words cut deep. Adrian didn't answer. He just nodded slowly, lost in thought. That evening, Adrian returned to the office. He stood in front of the old elevator again. The metal doors were scratched and silent. Behind them, somewhere, Lily had found the locket, the key that had reopened his heart. He pressed his hand against the cold surface. Claire, what do you want me to see? He whispered Dot for a moment.
Oh.
He thought he heard something faint, a soft metallic click. But when he turned, no one was there. Later that night, he called Mr. Harris to his office. The janitor entered nervously, cap in hand. You called for me, sir? Adrian nodded. Sit down. Harris hesitated. Sir, I prefer to stand. Adrian's voice softened. Please, this isn't about work. The janitor slowly sat. Silence filled the room. Then Adrian spoke quietly. You hid something from me, Harris? About your wife. About Anna Bennett. The man froze. His hands began to shake. Sir, please. Adrian cut him off gently. I'm not angry. I just want the truth. Harris looked down, tears forming in his eyes. Anna was Claire's twin. She loved her deeply. When Claire died, Anna broke inside. She couldn't face you, sir. She blamed herself for not saving her sister, she said. She saw you at the funeral, and she wanted to tell you something. But she saw the pain in your eyes and walked away. Adrian swallowed hard. She had the locket then? Yes, sir. Claire gave it to her once, saying it would protect her. When Anna passed away, she told me to keep it safe for Lily, but a few weeks ago, it went missing from our home. I never knew how. Adrian stared at him. Until your daughter returned it to me. Harris nodded. Maybe. Maybe fate wanted it that way. Tears rolled down Adrian's face before he could stop them. He turned away, whispering, I spent years locking myself away. I never knew she was still so close. Harris stood up slowly. Sir, Anna always said Claire used to call you her heart of steel. Maybe now you're learning to melt it again. Adrian looked up, his eyes filled with both pain and peace. You're right. He walked toward the window, staring at the city lights. Tomorrow, bring Lily with you. I'd like to talk to her. That night, as Adrian sat alone again, he opened the locket one more time. He stared at Claire's smile and the tiny note, follow your heart, not your pride. He finally understood. The message wasn't just for the past. It was for this moment to forgive, to love, and to rebuild what was broken. The rain outside stopped, and for the first time in years, Adrian felt the air lighten. The storm in his heart was slowly fading. He whispered, Thank you, Claire, for leading me home. The next morning, sunlight poured through the tall glass windows of Gray Enterprises. For once, the air didn't feel cold. The staff whispered among themselves. Their boss had called the janitor and his daughter to his office. No one knew why. Inside the office, Adrian Gray stood near the window, holding the silver locket. His reflection stared back at him, the same man, but somehow different. His eyes carried warmth now, not ice. A soft knock broke the silence. Come in, he said quietly. Mr. Harris entered, holding Lily's hand. The little girl smiled the moment she saw him. Hello, sir, she said cheerfully. Adrian smiled back gently. Hello, Lily. Please, both of you sit. They sat down nervously. Adrian placed the locket on the table between them. This belongs to your family, he said softly. And now, I finally know why. Mr. Harris's face paled. He whispered, Sir, I didn't mean to hide the truth. I just wanted peace. I thought it was better you didn't know. Adrian shook his head. No, I'm not here to blame you. He looked at Lily. Your mother, Anna Bennett. She was my wife's sister. That means Lily's eyes widened. You're my uncle? Adrian nodded slowly. Yes, Lily, I am. For a moment, silence filled the room, the kind of silence that feels heavy and gentle at once. The janitor's eyes filled with tears, and Lily looked both confused and happy. Adrian leaned closer, his voice low and trembling. Your mother was a brave woman. She took care of you even when she was sick. She never asked for help, not even from me. I didn't know she was still here, Harris whispered. She didn't want pity, sir. She said love without pride was rare, and she wanted to protect Lily from pain. Adrian looked down, his voice breaking, and I was too proud to see anything beyond my own grief. Claire tried to tell me once about her sister, but I shut her out. I thought I had lost everything when she died. But I see now, I didn't lose it all. A part of her was still alive, right here. He looked at Lily again, his expression softening. In you. Lily smiled shyly. My mommy used to tell me stories about her sister. She said her sister married a man with kind eyes, but a lonely heart. Adrian laughed quietly, tears shining in his eyes. She was right about that. Mr. Harris wiped his face. Sir Anna's last wish was simple. She said, if someday fate brings her sister's locket back to you, it means she forgave you. Maybe Claire did too. Adrian closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. It felt like the weight of years was lifting from his shoulders. He picked up the locket and opened it again. Claire's smile still shone inside, timeless and forgiving. He handed it to Lily. This belongs to you now. It's a gift from both your mother and your aunt. Lily held it gently, as if holding the past itself. Thank you, Uncle Adrian, she whispered. The word uncle hit his heart like sunlight breaking through clouds. He knelt down to her level and hugged her tightly. You reminded me how to feel again, he said softly. You brought me back to life. Tears rolled down Lily's cheeks. Mommy said good people find their way home. Maybe she meant you. Adrian smiled. Maybe she did. That evening, the office looked different. The staff watched in quiet surprise as the CEO walked through the halls, smiling, greeting people, helping a few. The man of steel had finally turned human again. He walked outside where Mr. Harris and Lily were waiting by the car. I've made a decision, Adrian said. Mr. Harris, I want you to manage building maintenance. Higher pay, shorter hours. And Lily, he knelt down again. I'll take care of your education. You deserve every chance your mother dreamed of. Harris tried to speak but couldn't. Tears streamed down his face. Sir, thank you. Adrian placed a hand on his shoulder. No, thank you for reminding me what love really looks like. As they left, Adrian looked at the sky, soft golden clouds floating across the horizon. For the first time in years, he felt peace. 2 weeks passed since that morning in Adrian Gray's office. Yet everything inside Gray Enterprises felt different now. The once silent corridors buzzed with light voices and soft laughter. The man who used to walk like a shadow was now seen sharing smiles, offering thanks, and listening to people as if he had been waiting his whole life to hear them. That Friday, the staff gathered in the main hall for a short meeting called by the CEO himself. No one knew why. Adrian stood at the center, Lily by his side, and Mr. Harris in the front row. Sunlight fell through the glass roof, turning the room gold. He cleared his throat and spoke gently, his voice steady but kind. I spent many years chasing success and forgot how to live. I lost someone dear and closed myself to the world. But fate sent me a reminder, a child with a smile stronger than any pain. Lily looked up at him and smiled. This little girl returned to me something I had lost long ago, he continued. She brought back my wife's locket, and with it, my heart. There was soft applause, but Adrian lifted his hand to quiet them. His eyes were moist, his smile gentle. Starting today, this company will sponsor education for the children of our staff. No one who works hard will be ignored here again. Mr. Harris covered his face, crying silently. For years he had cleaned these floors without ever being seen, and now the whole office was clapping for him and his daughter. Adrian bent down to Lily and handed her a small box. Inside was a new locket, gold, shiny, and engraved with the words for Lily, follow your heart. "This is yours," he said softly. "It will remind you where you come from and that you're never alone again." Lily hugged him tight. The crowd clapped louder, and for a moment, the office felt like a family. That evening, after everyone had gone home, Adrian stood alone in his office again. The city glowed outside, alive and beautiful. He picked up his wife's old locket from the desk and opened it one last time. Inside was her photo, and beneath it, the note he had read 100 times. "Follow your heart, not your pride." He smiled. "I did, Claire," he whispered, "and it led me back to you." He looked at the empty chair by the window, the spot where she used to sit and watch the rain. He could almost hear her voice again, soft, forgiving, full of love. "You did well, Adrian." He closed his eyes and let the memory rest. For the first time in years, he didn't feel pain, he felt peace. A few days later, Lily visited his home with Mr. Harris. She ran around the garden, laughing at the flowers and butterflies. Adrian watched from the porch, smiling. She ran up to him and said, "Uncle Adrian, Mama used to say people we love never really leave us. Do you think that's true?" Adrian looked at the sky. The sun was setting, painting everything orange and gold. "Yes, Lily," he said softly. "They stay in our hearts, and sometimes they send us little miracles to help us find our way." Lily giggled. "Like me?" He laughed. "Exactly like you." She sat beside him, swinging her legs and opening her new locket. Inside was a tiny photo of her mother and aunt together, smiling under a blue sky. Adrian felt a tear roll down his cheek. But this time, it was a tear of joy. The pain that once kept him frozen had turned into something beautiful, a bridge between past and present. He looked at Lily and said, "Do you know what your aunt used to say?" She shook her head. She said, "Love is not about holding on, it's about passing it forward, and that's what you did for me." Lily smiled brightly. "Then I'll keep passing it forward too." He patted her head gently. "I know you will." As the night fell, the garden lights glowed softly. The old locket hung in Adrian's study, framed beside a photo of Claire and Anna. Next to it stood a new photo of Adrian. Mr. Harris and Lily, together, smiling like a real family. The camera of life pulled back, showing the peaceful house, the city lights beyond. In the sky full of stars, a gentle voiceover could be heard. Adrian's voice, soft and calm. Sometimes life takes away what we love most, only to return it in a new form. It might come as a smile, a child, or a locket you thought you'd lost forever. When you follow your heart, even pain can lead you home. The screen fades to black, the music soft and hopeful. At the bottom, the final words appear in gold.